Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the session 3 by Mr. Professor Lohit JJ. We have a hands-on session on Ethereum and smart contract by Professor Lohit JJ. Over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. So, the theoretical topics that we have discussed in the previous session, so I'll be demonstrating the practical aspects of that. Okay, so here, so to code the smart contract, you require a editor kind, right? So here we'll be using the browser to start coding the smart contract, that is remix.ethereum.org. remix.ethereum.org. So participants who are all trying or who are all executing with me, okay, so I'll wait for you people to share the screen. Okay, so is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah. So everyone can click on this remix.ethereum.org. Okay, so a screen will be open like this. Let me know how many are working so that I can plan according to that, or if anybody is working, so I can concentrate on them. So you need not download anything here as of now. You just type in the browser remix.ethereum.org. Okay, a platform will be opened like this. Now here in this remix.ethereum.org, this allows the programmers to type the code, and it allows you to compile and run the code. Okay, so initially there are 3 different types of environments here. I'll go one by one in detail. Now let me explore this window. So here you can see that in the left hand side Remix logo. Then below that you can see file explorers. If you click on that file explorers, featured plugins will be, you'll be getting that Solidity, Pipeline, Mythex, Sourcify, Debugger, more. So you can select the Solidity. Okay, so once you select the Solidity, you can see that Solidity compiler plus 0.7.4, then language Solidity, EVM version, compiler default, then I have selected auto compile, then compile no file selected. Okay, so here under this file explorer, you can see browser and plus mark here. So this is used to create a new file. You click on this, then it will ask you to save the file. I'll save it as test.sol. .sol indicates that this is the Solidity file. Okay, so I'll save the file. Now editor kind of thing is open for me. Now here I can type the code and I can save that. Is this clear here till here? Okay, now the first program. So I already have the existing program here. Let me try. Okay. If the code is visible, ma'am. Is the font size is okay?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay, fine. Now this is a simple program. So in which, as I told you that pragma solidity, it is kind of a directive to indicate that the following is the smart contract code. Pragma solidity greater than or equal to 0.4.16, lesser than 0.8.0. So which indicating that this program should be compiled in this range of compilers only. That means the compiler version should be above or equal to 0.4.16 or lesser than 0.8.0. Okay. Next, contract simple storage. Simple storage is the contract name, and you are declaring the unsigned integer variable as stored data. Then you are defining the two functions, one set function and another one is get function. Set function, you are defining this to read the value, and that value you are assigning to store data. Then you are using the get function. See, set and get are function built-in functions in Solidity. Set is used to set the values to the variable. Get is used to get the value from the variable. Okay, function set unsigned int x public, indicating that anyone can access this. X is equal to store data. Then function get public view returns unsigned integer. This is syntax. Then returns store data. Is this program is clear? Simple program wherein it will read the value from the user, and that value it assigns to store data. Then you are trying to print the value which is stored in the store data variable. This is a simple program. Okay. Now let us start exploring this. So here file explorer is there. Then below this you can see Solidity compiler. Okay, people who are trying to work with me, I'll just paste this code in the chat box. Madam, is it possible for me to enable the chat box, madam?
Manjunath, sir, chat box enable panam. Can enable? Is it possible to enable? So there is no option that is showing there.
No, it was there because earlier I have done.
You have done that.
Yeah. Because last 3 FTPs, I have done ETL FTP only. I was able to do that.
Okay, 1 minute, sir.
First, let me try using WhatsApp also so that I can share there. I'll try with that also. Fine.
Sir, we are not finding any options.
Because ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ chat enable ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. I have done. ಆಗಿಲ್ವಾ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್? Okay, I'll try in WhatsApp, ma'am. Let me see.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I think I have sent, ma'am. Okay, you can check the same code. You can copy and run that.
Yes, yes, we received it, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, so let us start exploring this. Now here, you have a Solidity compiler. If you select on that, then you will get this compiler 0.5.17. That is the version of that compiler. So your program will be executing only in this version greater than or equal to 0.4.16 and lesser than 0.8.0. So this will work. So this current version which it has selected, that will work. Then language Solidity EVM version, that is compiler default, and auto compile is enabled. Then you can see that compile program.sol. Okay, so this is a program that I have created. So if I click on that, the particular program will be compiled, and below that you can see simple storage program.sol, then publish on SWAMP, publish on IPFS, compilation detail, then ABA and bytecode. So what is this ABA and bytecode? As I told you that once the program is compiled, like in Java, this program will create bytecode. So if I can copy this and paste to the screen. So once I compile this program, you will get it. Then ABA is nothing but abstract bytecode interface. If at all, if you want to interact from the user interface to this smart contract, then you need to copy this ABI to the web3.js code. So if at all, if you want to establish a user interactive to this smart contract, you can do that. You have to use web3.javascript, which is used to interact with the smart contracts. Okay, so for that you can use this ABI. Next, publish on SWAMP, publish on IPFS, compilation details means IPFS. Okay, let me give you some introduction about this IPFS, interplanetary file system. Now, as we all seen that Ethereum incurs some kind of transaction fees in terms of gas, right? Now, when I store larger volumes of data in blockchain, it incurs the more gas. Okay, so that is what one drawback in Ethereum blockchain. To overcome this drawback, there is a decentralized database to store the data, that is interplanetary file system, IPFS, wherein from the user you can read the data and you can store the data in IPFS. In turn, IPFS will return the hash value. Someone is muted. Okay. Getting here. Okay. Now this IPFS, it will store your data and it will return the hash of that stored data. So anyone who is having that hash can get back the data. So what is the advantage here is I am storing larger data in IPFS, which is in terms of GB. I request participants to mute your audio. I think Dr. Geeta ma'am. Dr. Geeta D. Okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So by using this IPFS, I'll store larger data in IPFS. That is also decentralized database. Okay. And it returns a small hash address of the stored data. Now I will give this address, hash address, as an input to smart contract, so that I can reduce I can save the gas consumption. Okay, so in my first research work, this is what the combination that I have used. As I have used the Ethereum blockchain. Okay, so I thought of, because I was generating that credit report, So when larger data needs to be stored, so this was a drawback. So to overcome the drawback, I thought of using this IPFS, wherein from the user, all the data I can store in IPFS. IPFS will return the hash value, and that hash value I am giving as an input to smart contract. So smart contract is deployed in the blockchain. So I am able to get huge advantage by using this IPFS. Okay, so here this Remix, it also allows you to publish this code in the IPFS. Okay, next publish on Swarm. Swarm is also the same stuff. Okay, I'll not go in detail about that. Okay, so this is about the platform. Next, so before that, you have deploy and run transactions. So if you select the deploy and run transactions, so you can see this environment, JavaScript virtual machine, then injected Web3 and Web3 provider. So you have three different types of environment. So Remix provides you three different types of environment to deploy the smart contract. First one, JavaScript virtual machine means when you compile the program, virtually all your smart contracts are stored. Okay, so that is what the environment that is available here. JavaScript virtual VM means now when I deploy this, okay, so this smart contract is deployed to virtual machine, assuming that that is the blockchain. So you will not get any kind of feel that your data is stored in blockchain. So to overcome that, now there is another environment, injected Web3. Okay, I'll come to that in the next stage now. Okay, now below this environment, you can see account. I think in the previous session, someone asked the doubt, what is the difference between external owned account? Okay, madam, can you see this, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See 0x5b3. Okay, this is what the address. So this JavaScript VM environment allows you this n number of addresses, wherein each address having 100 ether. See, this is, we are just simulating this in real time. This simulation, you cannot compile this and deploy in real time public blockchain, as it incurs real currency, that is ether. Okay, so for that purpose, if you want to test any smart contract, so you can use this remix.ethereum.org. Okay, as a first step, so wherein it will create some 10 accounts for you, wherein each account is having 100 ether. You can see this. If you want, I'll paste this address in the WhatsApp. You can see that. Okay, I have pasted that. That is what the address contract, I mean externally owned account. So that in that account you can see the each account is having 100 ether. Next, gas limit. See here. So I am specifying that gas limit, this value, indicating that, okay, when I keep on executing the smart contract at one time, okay, so when the gas, it crosses that limit, my program will not be deployed. And value is equal to 0 and WEI. So current value you have to specify here. But as of now, this is just a simulation, right? These are all dummy values. So I'm not giving any kind of value for this WEI denomination of ether. Okay. Next, contract simple storage. Okay. Then you can see the button deploy here. So this kind of orange color, wherever you have orange, see orange color button and blue color button. Okay. This deploy indicating that, so once the program is compiled, you can deploy this to Ethereum blockchain. Once that is deployed, then automatically the data will be stored in the blockchain. Next, R. Sometimes you need to deploy this smart contract to a particular address, contract address. If you know that address, you can specify this at address is equal to contract address. I'll show you once after deploying that, I'll show you what is the contract address. Next, transaction recorded is equal to 0 and deployed contract is equal to 0. It doesn't, as of now, you doesn't have any contracts. Okay, so is that fine? Is that clear till here? Now, shall I deploy this smart contract?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, fine. Now, you can see the difference. Now, I'll click on this deploy. See, creation of simple storage. Okay, just a minute. So you need to refresh this every time whenever you write a new program, or else it will give a kind of errors. Okay. Compile. Now I have compiled this program and a bytecode is created. Now I'll select this bytecode and paste in the WhatsApp. You can see that in the WhatsApp, you can check that you can see that bytecode, right? So what is a bytecode? So like in Java, once the Java program is compiled, it will create a bytecode, right? In the same way, this Solidity program, once it is compiled, it creates a bytecode. Ethereum supports nearly 151 opcodes. Okay, so what are opcodes means? I think there was some error in my internet. Okay, fine. So there are some 151 opcodes like push, store, call value, duplicate, is 0. Like this, nearly 151 opcodes are provided by Ethereum blockchain. Okay, and these bytecodes are converted to opcodes in reverse way, like how the compiler is compiled the program, right? So from high level language to machine level language, it is converted, right? So here, so this bytecode as a one step reverse, it is done and it will create this opcodes. So you can see that opcode here, push 1, mstore, call value, duplicate 1 is 0, push 2, push 1, like this, revert, jump destination. So like this 151 opcodes are supported by Ethereum. So once the program is compiled, it will create a bytecode. Next, I'll try to deploy this. Okay. Now, can you see the transaction recorded 1? I want anyone to interact with me. Madam, can you see the transaction recorded 1?
Yes, sir, I could see.
Okay. Now, below that, you can see here this contract, and you asked me what is contract address, right?
Yes.
Now, see, madam, this contract is deployed, and for this contract, an address is generated. That is what this contract address. Now, I'll paste that in the WhatsApp.
Simple storage at some address.
You can see the WhatsApp, ma'am. That is what the contract address now. Okay. Now, and you can see, madam, here the 100 Ether has reduced to 99.9999.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is what the transaction means, that is incurred for executing this transaction. Okay. Now, this is what the externally owned account, and after deploying this contract, it has created a contract address that I have shared in the WhatsApp. Is that the difference between the externally owned account and contract address is clear, madam?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now,
after deploying, that external account has been converted to contract account.
No. See, no. That externally owned account is different. Okay, which indicates that your wallet address. Okay. Now you deployed this contract, and for this contract, a new contract address is created.
Okay. Contract address or account, sir?
Address or account, anything is fine.
Okay.
Okay, and one transaction is recorded. Now I will say that my smart contract is deployed in blockchain, but you are not getting any field, right? How to ensure that the smart contract is deployed in blockchain. So this is environment. This JavaScript VM environment allows you to deploy, and it will virtually deploy on the blockchain. So, but still, as a user, you won't get any kind of feel that whether my smart contract is deployed in the blockchain or not. Okay, next. Now let us now in the next environment we'll go later. Now here you can see simple storage. Click on this. You can see the functions which are deployed. Set and get. Right? Okay. Now this I'll click on this set function. So once I click on the set function, okay. Now it is asking. I will give the value. Sorry. I have to give the value and set for that. Now I'll give the value and I'll call the set function. Now see, transaction recorded is equal to 2. Is that fine? So I told you that whenever there is a change for the global state, it records a transaction. Now you're changing the state of this set function to 100 value. Okay, now one transaction is recorded. Now if I click on this get function, see, it received it got the value that you have set to that particular variable. And for this get function, the transaction is not recorded because that state is not changed. You are just storing that and you are just reading that, right? So transaction is not recorded. Is this clear here?
Yes,
Very
sir.
simple program, smart contract, which is used to read the value, and you are using set built-in function to set that value to the variable, and you are using the get function to read that value. Okay, now this environment does not provide you, or it doesn't give you any kind of satisfaction that this smart contract is stored in blockchain or not. Okay, now we'll move on to the other environment, that is injected Web3. Okay, so for this injected Web3, I want you to download Ganesh, then MetaMask. Okay, now trufflesuit.com/Ganesh. So if you click on this, then there is a button. So here, download Windows. You can download that. Okay, if you just double click on that, automatically it will install for your device. It maximum take 5 minutes, not more than that. Okay, now what is this Ganesh is? It's a one-click blockchain. That means whatever smart contracts that you are trying to deploy here, okay, this Ganesh acts like a local blockchain. It will store all the transactions in a block. Okay, now I'll explore that Ganesh blockchain. I already downloaded that, so I'll just explore that. It's taking time, kindly bear with me.
Sir, in that we have to go to Quick Start.
Wait, ma'am, wait. See, now here, download Windows, right? Yeah, quick start, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh, you're ahead of me. Okay, fine, no problem.
No, I already downloaded before the session starts.
Good. Okay, so once you open that, right, it will ask you to create a workspace. Quick start for one-click blockchain or create a new workspace for advanced setup options. So new workspace. So that is for different parameters. Let us not go in as of now. So I'll click on this quick start Ethereum. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Because I have installed a Node.js, npm and all, so it is a bit slow. Okay. Meanwhile, let us come back to MetaMask also, and you can open this MetaMask.io. It is a browser extension. So just click on this MetaMask.io. I'll share this in the WhatsApp also. You can just open that, and you can download this MetaMask act like a wallet and gateway to all your blockchain applications. Okay, so you can download now. You can download, and it will ask you to give you the username and password. Right, once you provide the username and password, so this will be stored as a browser extension. You can see this dog symbol right here in the browser extension. So I already downloaded that. I'll just open that. Okay, fine. Now this is open for us. Okay, I'll finish that and come. Okay, ma'am. Okay, now you can all install this MetaMask.io as a browser extension. Madam, can you able to install add that MetaMask as a browser extension, ma'am? Now let us wait for the participant. Anybody is working with me, right? I can wait for you. If you have any queries, let me know. Yes? Any participant require any help from me? Okay, fine. Now, once you open that, or once you install that as a browser extension, now it is asking me password. Okay, now I'll give password. Right, I'm able to use this. Let me remove all the accounts. Is any participant who is working with me, are you able to install this MetaMask? Madam?
Yes, sir. I'm trying out, but.
Madam, you just click on that metamask.io.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
Download as browser extension.
Sorry, sir.
Download as browser extension. It will ask you to for browser extension for Chrome or like that.
Yeah. Then we need to add to Chrome.
Yes.
Add extension. Okay.
It will. I think it will ask username and password, right?
It starts downloading, sir. It takes time.
Okay. Meanwhile, I'll come back to Ganesh. Now, see, this is open now. I think you can see here default. It will create 10 accounts, wherein each account is having 100 Ether. Okay. Accounts, blocks. So only block 0. No transactions as of now. No contracts and events and logs. So whatever you have logged in, so that will give you Ethereum block number. Ganesh started successfully, waiting for request. Okay. Next, in the below row, current block 0, gas price, gas limit. Okay. And see, gas price and gas limit. So this is already fixed here, because this Ganesh Ethereum, it will auto mine, and mining status is auto mining, and remote procedure call RPC server HTTP 127.0.0.1 with the port number 8545. If you want to connect any network to this Ganesh, then remotely you can give this 127.0.0.1 with the port number 8545. Okay. Or else, if you want to create your own network ID, right, that is also possible. See here, if you click on this settings, it will give you workspace name, server. See, host name is 127.0.0.1, which is loopback address, port number 8545, network ID, then accounts and keys, account default balance 100, total accounts to generate 10. So if you want to simulate for more number of devices, you can create total accounts to 100. Okay. Next, this chain default, see, gas limit and gas price. These are all the default values. Okay. So before deploying this to real-time blockchain, you can all set these parameters and you can restart that. So I'll not change the default one. I'll just cancel this. Okay. Now I'll come to this account section. Now here, see here you can see address 0x7EC, balance 100 Ethereum, transaction count, index, and a private key here. Show keys. Account address is this, and this is what the private key. Usually, private key should not be available to anyone. Okay, but this is just a simulation tool, right? So it displays the private key also. Okay, so this is about the Ganesh. Now I'll come back to that MetaMask. Now I'll try to import that Ganesh Ethereum account to MetaMask. Okay, madam, can you able is that done, madam?
Yes, sir. It is new to MetaMask, import wallet or create wallet.
Yeah, import. Okay. Now let me import that. See here, if you click on this, here you get create account, import account. I'll try to import the account of Ganesh. Okay, now import account, and it is asking me private key. Now I'll come back to Ganesh. For example, first account, private key I'll take. I'll copy this. I'll copy this. Then I'll come back to MetaMask and paste that private key here, and I'll ask to import. Yes, that account is imported now. You can see account 3 7E0C. That same account address, see 7E0C. This account is imported to MetaMask with 100 Ethereum, because when you create a MetaMask, it will not have any kind of ethers. Okay, that's the purpose that, right? So I'll try to import the account from Ganesh, so that, okay, this account, this cryptocurrency I can use to transact for any transaction purpose. Okay, now let us come back to this environment JavaScript VM. I'll change the environment to injected Web3. Okay, when I change this injected Web3, now automatically MetaMask will be connected to this platform. Okay, so I'll make this prime address of the current. Now MetaMask account is connected. I think you can see here after this environment injected Web3, so 0x7E0C is added here. So this is what my current account in this environment. Now what is happening? What will do now when we come deploy this smart contract, and the transaction, will see that this will be stored in this Ganesh. Okay, so as of now block is only 0 Genesis block. Okay, because what is the Genesis block? Any answers? What is the Genesis block? Genesis block is the first block of a blockchain that has to be created when you create the blockchain. So first block is called as a Genesis block, in which, right, so for that Genesis block previous hash value will be 0. So from next block onwards, the network itself will create the block, and it will add with the hash pointer, so that it will go on linking to the block. So that is the reason that, so here block 0 is already created. Okay, and transactions are null. Right, now I'll deploy this transaction smart contract to this blockchain and see. Now transaction recorded is 0. Now I'll compile this program. Okay, then I'll deploy this. So transaction record is 0. Deploy. See here, once I clicked on this deploy, now this MetaMask is asking me to verify that, confirm this. So only after confirming this, it will be storing in the blockchain. That means MetaMask is acting like a wallet to your address. Are you able to understand this? See, account is 0x7E0C. Okay, so as I created this MetaMask browser extension, okay, so this is acting like, because all the transaction needs to be signed by the sender, right? That is what the blockchain concept. So now before, as I clicked on this deploy, this MetaMask, it is asking me to confirm. Only after confirming this, transaction will be recorded. Okay, now I'll show you, I'll come back to this. See here, block 1. You can see this, right? Block 1 mined on 2021 01 19 15 18. That means 3 o'clock 18 minutes. Gas used 96177. 1 transaction. So see here, transaction hash 0x1EC from address 0x7E0C. What is this address? This is what the external owned account. Next, created contract address. Okay, so contract creation is successful. So this transaction is successfully stored in the blockchain. Is this clear now? Okay, now I'll leave the session for question answers now. Yes, any doubts here? Dear professors, any doubts? Okay, let me repeat each and everything now. We are using remix.ethereum.org as a platform for Ethereum smart contract. Okay, so wherein you can use that to write the code. Then it allows you to compile and deploy that with different environments. If you use JavaScript VM, yes, madam, Geeta, madam, any doubts, madam?
Yes, sir. Already you have started revision. No, I'll ask.
Okay,
I'll
fine.
ask it later.
Okay, so this remix.ethereum, it provides different environment. First environment is JavaScript VM, in which once you deploy the smart contract, virtually it will store that smart contract in a virtual blockchain. Okay, next, once you deploy, it will create a contract address. So externally owned account address is nothing but the account in which you will be having a Ether. Okay, so without that externally owned account, you cannot be part of the blockchain. Next, once you deploy the smart contract, for that smart contract, it will generate a contract address. That is nothing but the contract address. So after deploying that, you will be getting that. So in this diagram, you can see that, right? From address is nothing but the externally owned account 0x7E0C. Okay, I'll show you here. See here, 0x7E0C. This is what the contract account, I mean externally owned account. Okay, next, created contract address 0x7A814. After deploying the smart contract, it has generated this address. Now, whenever you need to transfer any amount to this contract, you can send the currency to this address directly. Because when you are sending Ether, you can send from externally owned account to externally owned account, or externally owned account to contract address, or contract address to externally owned account, or contract address to contract address. Getting here? Okay. Now, so here this as next, what is the use of MetaMask here is MetaMask acts like a wallet to your account. Okay, so initially MetaMask does not have any account, so I have used this MetaMask as a browser extension. Then I have imported the account from Ganesh Ethereum, which is having 100 ethers. So initially MetaMask initially it will not have any kind of ether. Okay, so for that purpose, I have downloaded Ganesh Ethereum, which will act like a local blockchain for your system. Right. Next, when this MetaMask is installed, and you can import the account. I'll show once again. I'll try to import the other address next also. Okay, it is asking me private key. Let me import another account now. So second address I'll try to import. So this was the private key. You copy this private key. Then come back to MetaMask, paste this private key, then import this. Now that address is also imported now. You can see that, right? Account 3 and account 4. Okay. Now, as I have changed this environment injected Web3, automatically one account is linked to, from MetaMask, the account is linked to this remix.ethereum.org. Okay. Now, so when you deploy this transaction, okay, all the transactions that are deployed in blockchain, before deploying, that needs to be signed by private key of your address, right? So that is taken care by MetaMask. So when I try to deploy this, see here, MetaMask will be active and it is asking me to confirm. So only after confirming that, the transaction will be stored in the blockchain. Now I'll confirm that. Okay, and you can see that one more block is created now with one more transaction from address, created contract address. Now can you see the difference now? Two different types of contract address. Okay, but from address is same. Every time when you deploy this contract, it will create an address for you. Okay, now assume that now I have generated the smart contract for rental agreement. Okay, now any owner or any tenant, they can deploy this and they will have their own contract address. Are you able to understand this? Is this clear? Yes. Now I'll ask. Now I'll leave this question answers now. Any doubts now? Madam, any doubts, madam?
Sir, all the blocks are connected, sir. In that you have shown in the.
Yeah, actually, this is a simulation, right? Okay. So every transaction it will consider as a new block.
Okay.
But here we cannot simulate that, showing that every block is linked.
Okay.
Only see the purpose of this tool here is you can write the smart contract and you can check whether the transaction is successful and they are able to store in the blockchain before going to the real-time blockchain, because real-time blockchain will incur that real-time currency, right? So that is the reason that you are simulating this and storing in the blockchain. Usually a block contains nearly 500 transactions and every new block is created for 12 seconds in real-time blockchain. Yes, any doubts? Is that fine? Professors, any doubts? And see, another difference here is that you have to understand here is, see now, whatever may be the from address, or it may be the same account may be deploying that contract, but every time it is generating a new contract address. That is very, very important here. Practically understanding is this. Okay. Now I am deploying this. So this will be my address. Next, when some other person will deploy this, so that person's address will be the from address, and he will be having a new contract address. So every time when that contract is deployed, it will generate a new contract address for that from address. Is this clear? Any doubts still here?
No, sir.
Okay, fine, right? Now I'll just show you another example having small constructor. Okay, just wait. I'll just open that program. Let me execute another program which is having constructor and demonstrate that. Okay, so here I'll just demonstrating the platform. Okay, so the working editing platform for Ethereum, then wallet as a MetaMask as a wallet, then Ganesh as a local blockchain. By using these three combinations, right, you can write a smart contract for any of the problem. You can compile that and you can deploy that, and once that particular smart contract is deployed successfully into blockchain, then if you want you can go to real-time blockchain. Okay, but as a research purpose or as a small project purpose, I think this is sufficient, because you cannot deal with the real-time blockchain because it incurs the real-time cryptocurrency. Next stage is, suppose if you want to change the parameters, you need to work for 100 different nodes. For that you have a sim block. We can go with that sim block. Okay, check this. Right, now you can see this program: contract name, string name, constructor, public, name is equal to anonymous, function fetch name, view, public return string, return name, function write. So here you try to write the name, then fetch that name. Okay. So if you are not writing any name and when you try to fetch that name, it will fetch anonymous. Okay. So this is to indicate that how constructor is initialized here. Just a minute, just a minute. Okay. Now I'm trying to deploy this. So it is asking me to confirm. I'll confirm this and the transaction is recorded. Now this is what the name contract. Okay. Now see, initially I'll try to fetch name. Okay, just a minute. So my system is a bit hanging. Just bear with me. Yes. Okay, now you can see that here, right? So initially, so every time when I start new program, right, I need to refresh that. Okay, so this is now without writing any name, I try to fetch name. It is giving anonymous. Now I'll write name. I'll write name Lohit. Then I'll try to fetch name. Yes, it is giving the name Lohit. Okay, and all these transactions are stored in the blockchain. You can see that from address how many transactions are occurred and number of blocks that are created here. So is this fine? So like this, you have different categories of programs. Only thing is, you know the platform now. You know the platform, how to compile, how to create the program, smart contract, how to compile and run deploy to the blockchain, local blockchain. The next thing is, you need to study Solidity programming language in detail, so that you have to learn how to transfer currency Ether from one account to another account. In the morning session, I told you that the transfer function is there, send function is there, call function is there. Okay, and there is a difference between 3 different types of built-in functions. You need to analyze that. Okay, next part, very important part in smart contract, as it deals with the real-time currency, is vulnerabilities. So there are many vulnerabilities exist in smart contract. When you write a smart contract, it will lead you to one or other vulnerability. How to verify whether your code is vulnerable for any kind of attacks or not? There are many research going on in this field, and currently I am also part of that. Okay, so there is a tool called as ONT. I'll just send that information. I'll give you that information also. So one of my NIT student, okay, so he has written an article on this tool. Okay, if you just type Tarun and ONT, so here he has written an article how to install and use ONT. Tomorrow I'll just see, because this ONT we need to execute that in the Ubuntu platform. I don't know whether Microsoft Teams works in Ubuntu or not. Okay, I'll just check with that. Has anyone worked with my Microsoft Teams in Ubuntu?
It won't work.
It won't work.
Try
Yeah.
online classes.
Okay, because I thought of giving demo on this ONT tool. Okay, or else can we shift to Google Meet or something so? Okay, anyway, I'll discuss with Shashikala ma'am, because so the next part is vulnerabilities part. Okay, so on all the smart contracts that you write, you just want to know whether my smart contract is vulnerable for any kind of attacks. What happens if there is an attack on the vulnerability? Simple thing is you will be losing your ether. Okay, for this there is a tool called as ONT, in which ONT will accept your smart contract as input and it will display whether your code is vulnerable to any of the attacks or not. So what are the various types of vulnerables? For example, integer overflow, integer underflow, call stack depth attack, then DOW attack. I think in the yesterday session my guide has discussed about DOW attack, right? Re-entrancy attack, timestamp dependency attack, TOD, timestamp ordering dependency. Like this, more than 20 vulnerabilities exist in smart contract, and currently many research is going on. Not only ONT tool, I think Mythril, Smart Check, these are some of the tools wherein you need to install that, and if you give input as your smart contract, it will give you the output that whether your smart contract is vulnerable to any of the attacks or not. Okay, I'll just try to demonstrate that tomorrow in the tomorrow session, so that we'll try to take some programs which is vulnerable and see what type of vulnerable or what type of attacks exist for that smart contract. Okay, so because I already installed that ONT tool, but I need to shift that to Ubuntu. Okay, we'll see either Zoom or Google Meet. We'll try to use that, because as less number of participants are there, we'll try to use Google Meet. I think Google Meet we can use that in Ubuntu or no, ma'am? Anyway, I'll try now. Evening.
I don't have idea, sir.
Okay, evening I'll try that, and I'll confirm with Shashikala ma'am, so that you can share the same thing and you can fix that for tomorrow for session.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, sir. So simple example now I'll show you now. One example. Now you can see this program, additive inverse, function negative and return x. Now it will take the input as integer value and it has to return the negative value of that. Now let us see. Let us try to compile this program and see what will be the output now. Okay. Now I'll give 100, and if I click on this negative, it is giving minus 100. I think this minus 100 is visible, no ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this is a simple smart contract. Now I'll say that this contract code is vulnerable for integer overflow and underflow attack. This is what this code is vulnerable. Okay. For example, I'll take you an example now. Simple example. Okay. Let me take this value. Now I'll give this value which is equal to 2 power 255. Okay, now I am giving the value which is equal to 2 power 255 and I am giving minus 2 power 255 value. So it has to give plus that value, right? Now let us see what is the value that it is giving. It is giving minus of 57867 only. The thing is, with reference to integer, Solidity programming language has limit on the length of the integer that you are using. Okay, so it can store up to 2 power 255 only. So above that value, if you try to store, it will revert back to 0. This is one limitation in Solidity programming language. Okay, so as you are using this minus of 572 power 255 value, okay, so it is not able to give the actual result. Okay, so this type of code, so when you are writing this type of smart contract in Solidity, so it is the programmer's responsibility to understand all the corners of Solidity programming language and to ensure that you will not have any kind of vulnerability in your programs. Okay, there are a lot of working opportunity exists in this area. Vulnerabilities in Ethereum smart contract. Okay, currently my 2 students are working on this. I am working on this project. Right? So to indicate this, there are a various existing tool like Voyante, Mithril and Smart Check like this. Each one uses their own mechanism to detect whether the vulnerability exists in that smart contract or not. Voyante uses the opcodes. First, it will read the smart contract, then it will decompile the source code, bytecode to opcodes. Then it works on that opcode, and according to that, it will display this particular vulnerability exists in the smart contract, like this or not. Getting here? So in the tomorrow session, I'll discuss in detail about this vulnerabilities in smart contract, and either by using Zoom or Google Meet, I'll try to demonstrate that. Okay, if that is not possible, then I'll try to explain the blockchain implementation using Java. Getting here? Okay, so I'll just check. I'll check today evening. I'll just check whether Google Meet or Zoom is we are able to use that in Ubuntu. If that is successful, then we'll try to log in using that either Zoom or Google Meet. Then I'll try to demonstrate that. Is that fine, ma'am? Okay. Now
Yes, sir.
I'll leave the session for question and answers. Any queries? Please try to give me some kind of feedback whether you have understood or you are not able to understand. Any
Dear
queries?
participants, any queries?
Okay, if there are no queries, I'll stop the session here, ma'am. So I'll continue the remaining part in the tomorrow session. I'll discuss with Shashikala, ma'am, and
Okay,
we'll
sir.
conclude that whether to use Google Meet or Zoom or any other tool.
Okay, sir.
And the
Thank you
same thing
very
can
much,
be
sir.
updated in the WhatsApp group, ma'am.
Sorry, sir.
And the same thing can be updated in the WhatsApp group, right?
Okay. Okay. Fine, sir. Fine. Then everyone will be knowing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful session, sir. Thank
Fine.
you.
Thank you.
Dear participants, today's session gets over. So tomorrow we'll be sending the link to have a hands-on experience on the same web server link. The same will be shared on the WhatsApp group. So thank you all. We'll be meeting on tomorrow.